Welcome to Point of Two, where we share our point of view. My name's Caitlin Wonsowski, and I'm Caucasian.
My name is Anagha, Arla, and I'm Indian. On this episode, we're going to be talking about our different experiences in school and the schooling system in general.
All right, let's get into it.
So, what are like some expectations for school from your parents and like just grades?
Well, I think that growing up, my brother did really, really well in school, but like he didn't have to try as hard as I did. So my parents expect me to get A's and B's, and that's what they hope for. But they know that if I get a C in a class, that like it'll be okay as long as I'm trying my hardest. And they never pressured me to like, you know, be something I can't be. How about you?
I think for most of the Indian kids that I know of, like in this school, most of them feel pretty pressured by their parents to get A's and B's, and like that's stressful. And you put in like just like all the other factors of school, like extracurriculars and like having a social life and everything. And I think our parents' like pressure on us stems from the fact that they came here with like literally a $50 car, some gas. It probably had like leaky oil or something, and then that was the start. And they like had to drive from state to state to find jobs. And so I think it's like the part that they don't have, like they didn't have security in the beginning, and so I think that's why it's very important for them, and they pressure the kids to get A's and B's, or like mainly A's, so that you can like succeed in life henceforth. I think that's where that comes from.
Yeah, I understand, because I come from like a middle class family where we definitely don't like struggle financially, but we also don't just get everything handed to us.
Yeah.
So they want me to do good and they want me to succeed in life, and obviously I want that for myself too, because I also still want them to be like proud of me. But it's nothing to the point where like we have experienced like really hard times and money that like that's our motivation. It's more like we want you to just have a happy future.
Yeah, I get that. Same. That's like what my parents tell me, because I'm decently open with them about stuff like this. I'll be like, oh, hey, you're putting too much pressure on me right now. I need you guys to like not put too much pressure on me. And like, of course, we get into our arguments when that happens, and that's normal, but I think my parents are a lot better at it than most parents that I know of. I mean, obviously I don't have the experience with other parents, but I like the way my parents, like, raised me in that aspect. Because, I mean, when I was younger, I wanted to be a musician. Mm-hmm. So I told my dad, I was sitting at the top of the stairs, I told my dad, I'm going to be a musician. I don't care if you like it or not, but that's what I'm going to be, and I'm going to make money, and I'm going to be rich, and all of this. And fast forward, 3 years, and I don't know. Music is not what I'm into, so I think it's funny that they were right, but also, like, the fact that they were good at kind of trying to point me in the right direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So did your parents ever, like, when you get home from school, do they ask you, like, what's your next test? What's your homework?
I mean, I guess normally when I'm, like, once I get home, my parents aren't home by the time I get home. So it's more of, like, me, I just go to my room. I'll take, like, an hour of, time to watch Netflix, because can't work on schoolwork right after you come home from school. So I take a break, and then I start my homework. And so, like, by that time, my parents will be home. At least my dad comes home earlier, and then my mom comes home, like, around 6. So, like, that's when I'll go, like, see them and, like, say something or, like, say hi, or just, like, I normally just go up to my mom and give her a hug, because, I don't know, it's a whole thing between my mom and me, so, but they don't normally ask. I mean, sometimes they will, like, we had our AP Stats grades put in the other day. I didn't do so hot on the test, and so my mom, like, the day after, I think, or maybe it was 2 days after, she had asked me, she was like, I saw that Mr. Frederick, like, put your stats grade in, like, what happened and everything, and I was like, I thought I understood everything, I didn't do well, but we're going over it soon, so I'm going to wait for that and then see what I can do. So it's very slight push, but not much of a push.
Yeah. All right, let's get into extracurricular and after-school program.
So what are you doing after school normally?
So every day after school, I'm an incredibly busy person. It was nothing like super crazy, but I get home from school and I either have to be at work or at dance by like 4:30 or 5. And I work at Taco Bell. So it's like a stressful environment, but it's like it's not bad. Like I'm okay. It's a good high school job, I would say. But as soon as I get home, I basically like eat some food, and then I get dressed and like leave to go to work. And if I'm not at work, I'm going to dance, and then I get ready for dance when I get home, and then I leave. So I don't really get home to work on homework until like anywhere between 9 and 10:30. So it's really hard sometimes to keep up with all the work, but I always get it done because I know procrastinating makes everything worse. But
oh, yeah. Definitely, I feel that.
Yeah, I see my parents probably within like an hour to 2 hours during the entire week because I'm always at work or at dance. And it's hard because like you want to be there with your family, but also like this is like the end of high school and like I want to be with my friends while I can, and so you have
to like think about your future and everything too. I'm
thinking about everything. So I spend like when I'm not at work, I spend time with my friends usually because I don't get to see them, and I still want to have a social life. Mm-hmm. And I think my parents understand that, but
yeah. I get that, because like when you're coming home from college, like you always stay at home, you know, versus you don't go to your friend's house. Like, I mean, sleepovers, but like you don't stay there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. I mean, with extracurriculars for me, nothing started yet. So like from next week onward, my internship begins, and I'm gonna be there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Thursdays I have like senior board stuff going on. And Tuesdays are normally FBLA like stuff going on. So I'm normally pretty busy. So like I had the summer off and I had like the first 3 weeks of school off. So it was nice going home early, doing my homework, and then watching Netflix all night. But you know, it's gonna start picking up soon, and so I guess FBLA is one of like the main things I do at school. And then I've been on the board since I was in freshman board. So I went through like freshman, sophomore, junior and senior boards. I don't know, I've always wanted to, like, when I was a freshman, I remember thinking that I wanted to, like, on my resume or like my college apps or something, write down that I did everything for like 4 years. I don't know why that made me happy. It made me happy. But so that was the whole goal of doing like the boards and FBLA and peer leadership. I don't even remember what else I'm involved in. Too much.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work, but at least you get school credit for it. Like,
true.
It goes on your resumes, because mine are all outside. Like, I don't work for the school. The dancing I do is also outside of school at another studio. So
I've always wanted to actually dance, but I've always wanted to dance for like a Indian Bollywood like fusion kind of like dance team, but you know, with Bloomington Normal being so small and like having like 3 to 5 high schools in our area, it wasn't gonna happen. So I'm hoping in college I get to be a part of that and do that. So
all right, you want to talk about friendships now?
Yeah.
All right,
let's go for friendships.
Let's talk about some friendships. So let me just ask, friendships in high school for you, what has it been like? Do you have like a clique? Is that,
I think,
different from like my type of a clique? I don't have a clique, but like, would it be different?
I feel that. I think from a young age, especially from my parents, it was like, oh, hang out with like the 5 Indian girls that I know, like the parents that I know, and like the kids that I know. And so it was hard to let my parents know that I have a life outside of the 5 people that we all know as a family. Like, I have friends who are black, who are white, who are like mixed. Like, I have so many friends that are different nationalities. Like, it's not going to be just Indian people I hang out with. And so that's one thing that slowly worked up to. And I mean, I don't think I have a clique necessarily, to be honest. I prefer being alone just because my anxiety makes it really hard for me, because I'll overthink everything. I'll be like, oh my god, so I said this. Is that weird? Is that normal? Like, is that, like, does that do people think I'm weird now? So it's that kind of thing. So it's mainly me, 2 girls I hang out with. But yeah, mainly I like being by myself, but I've had some interesting friendships over the years. What about you?
Well, see, it's interesting to hear because I have some childhood friends, but I think being pushed by your parents to have like a group of those like 5 girls is a lot actually, and it's actually kind of, I don't know if I would say it's a good thing or a bad thing because I'm not in your shoes, but I have like a very small group of friends. Like you just named off like 10 people, and my friend group consists. I don't even have a friend group. Like I have like friends here, friends there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't belong to a group because I just don't do that type of stuff. But yeah, like I have like 5 friends that I mean I have lots of acquaintances. Like I get along with lots of people, but like actual people that I see outside of school and like spend time with and like what we want to do stuff, you know? Like, it's very small amounts of people.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you on that. Like there's 2 people that I first in my head, like if there were people that I would spend like rest of my life kind of like we're friends for the rest of our life and we live near each other kind of thing. There's 2 people maybe even 1 person, but I guess most of the people now I would say are acquaintances because we're just not that close anymore. Yeah. And it's not their fault, it's not my fault, it's just how it is.
Clique-wise, I'd say I actually used to be part of cliques when I was a sophomore and didn't know who I was really. But like now that I've found who I like and people I want to be around and the things that I'm into, you know, that decreased a lot. Like my friendships decreased a lot. Like cutting off people or being cut off, like that's something that I feel like is very important in life to like deal with because, you know, at the time you're like, oh, it's the end of the world, this girl hates me, this boy hates me, but I wouldn't change my group of friends. And I think that if anything happens, if we have a falling out, like it was meant to happen and they just weren't meant to be. But, you know. Yeah,
I think it took me a while to deal with a friend of mine, I believe freshman year? It was freshman year. I remember I was sitting in a car dealership in like Champaign or something because one of my parents' friends were buying a car and like they had texted me this huge paragraph of like why we're not friends and everything, and it went on for days. And I remember we went to a Mexican restaurant that night to eat food and like Mexican cuisine, favorite thing, best thing ever in the world. And I remember I didn't eat, like, even half of my plate. I ate, like, a little bit, and I was like, let's take it home. Like, I'm not hungry. And so, yeah, I guess it's interesting. And, I mean, I've had that happen to me, I think, 5 times, multiple times. And so each time, like, it doesn't get any better, you know? It's still the same feeling. It still sucks. But, you know, I think I finally come to the conclusion that, you know, what happens in life happens, and you have to move on no matter what happens. Yeah. And so that's important to come to, especially in high school.
All right, let's talk about what happens, like, for discipline. Let's talk about discipline.
Yes. Juicy stuff.
Have you ever been in trouble in school? Like, actually?
Yeah.
What happened?
I think it was first grade.
Oh, okay.
I got a pink slip in Glen. So I think there was this guy who had like this little like stuffed animal. I really liked it, so I stole it. I took it and put it on my desk. He took it back. I think this is what happened, honestly. I have a bad memory, but like I kept taking it back, and so I got a pink slip. And I went down to the principal's office, and she was like, "We don't steal things." And so like she sat there and like explained it to me, and I remember I got in so much trouble when I got home. I tried, so like, the principal wanted me to, like, one of my parents to sign something. So me being me, I tried covering, like, the letter up with a white piece of paper and just saying, "Hey, Mom, like, some teacher wants you to sign this." And, like, just, like, the signature part is what I showed her. And then she read the letter. So, yeah, I think I'd say I had, like, just a big timeout where I was in the basement and I got yelled at because I was being a bad kid. And so, you know, I was sitting there crying. My parents were mad for a couple days, I think. But I think that's the most trouble. Oh, wait, in middle school, I wasn't paying attention in my math class because I knew what we were doing. So I was like, okay, I'll just do other homework because I know what's going on. And so our, like, team that year, like, that 6th grade, I think, team. And so, like, we had, like, little cards our teacher would give out, like, if we weren't paying attention. And so she gave me a card. And so I was super upset by the end of the day. I was like, oh no, it's gonna ruin my life, that kind of thing. And I went home and I told my mom. And then I guess by the time I had told my mom, I realized, oh, it's my team doing it. So it's not gonna go on my resume. Everyone's not gonna see me as, oh, she got a not paying attention card kind of thing, person on my forehead kind of thing. So I realized that by then, my mom was not happy again. But yeah, I think mainly big chunks of timeout or like arguing between my family, like me yelling, my mom yelling, my dad, it's a whole mess. But discipline-wise, that was mainly it.
Yeah. I've only been in trouble twice in a school. When I was in elementary school, which was so sad because my principal loved me. He still does. Aww. We still actually if I ever see him around other schools, because like he does superintendent stuff now, but like whenever he like walks around, he'll be like, hey, how are you? So that's like really cool that we've had like that bond still. But I got in trouble one day. I don't remember exactly. I think I was on the playground and I was like messing with some boy. And the monitor, the playground, the recess monitor, whatever they're called. She like grabbed my arm and like pulled me into the office. And so he was like, what are you doing in here? And this is the first time I've been in trouble. I was bawling my eyes out because I didn't want to disappoint him. I didn't want my family to get mad at me. But I don't really remember getting in trouble after that. Like, my parents didn't care. They were just like, yeah, it was just like, you're stupid elementary student. I don't know. But then I remember in 7th grade. Yeah. 7th grade at Chittix, I had a game with another student. We're like in between classes. By the way, do not do this. It's really stupid. We would kick each other's shins and then run to our next class. Oh, ouch! So it wasn't painful. We wouldn't do it hard. We would just like tap them.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But like, teachers see that as like, you're trying to kill someone. So I was in the middle. I was getting ready to kick, and then boom! As soon as I hit him, the superintendent, the vice principal comes down, grabs my arm, takes me to her office. So I'm sitting there. I'm counting the bricks on the wall.
I love that you remember that.
I'm contemplating my fate. Like I'm gonna go get suspended. Like not a big deal. But I was so scared because it's the first time I've actually been in trouble for doing something as a almost teenager. So I got there and I was like, man, what am I gonna do? And then she calls me into her office and she's like, so who were you kicking? And I didn't know his last name. And I just remember her being like, yeah, so you're going to kick someone that you don't know their last name. And I was like, I'm really sorry. So I got 2 lunch detentions and everything was okay, but I was not doing well. I was very upset.
I think I got a lunch detention once.
Yeah, but I never got in trouble with my parents, so that's all good.
I love that you're counting the bricks on the wall.
I
get that.
I was so nervous. I was like crying and I was counting the bricks while I was waiting for her to call me into her office.
Oh my god.
It was really scary.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, that's how most of school kind of has been so far. It's a little look into my life. But,
ditto. And I think, we don't really have the same exact experiences, but I think we do have some similar experiences.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just, it's important to divide into like the different experiences people have, but we also grew up in circumstances that were very similar. So I think that's why we have some similar experiences.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and got to learn a bit about the two of us and also could hear a different point of view. And we hope to catch you next time on the next episode of Point of Two.